children are our most precious assets. We all want to do everything we possibly can to give them the very best opportunities in life and help them succeed. Well, do you know that there's a very simple way we can provide our children with one of the most important advantages in life? And here it is, superfoods. Join me as we chat with Dr. Delia McCabe, a nutritional neuroscientist, on what are the best foods for our children. Welcome, Delia. So, what are superfoods?
Superfoods are foods that are full of nutrients, they've got great fiber, they contain carbs, protein and good fats. Those are what superfoods are. People often think that exotic superfoods are what we need, like goji berries or golden berries or even acai. That's not true. We can find superfoods at our local supermarket.
So, are these the best foods for our children?
Gary, our children need to eat lots of fruits and veggies. Good nuts, obviously not when they're really small and they can choke on them, but they can still be ground up. Great fats from the seeds that we need to consume.
And what are these seeds?
These seeds, flax seeds, hemp seeds, chia seeds, these are foods that naturally taste good and they've got loads of nutrients in them for the growing brain. You see, we don't get an opportunity to redo and regrow our children's brain. They have windows of opportunity, and if they're not eating optimally within that time frame, their intellectual potential will not be reached. That means you could be passing on great genes, but guess what? Those genes will not be realized if they're not eating these kinds of foods. And these foods also contain protein, like the legumes and the nuts. We've got great carbs from our broccoli, our cauliflower, our sweet potatoes, our white potatoes. We've got carrots. Look at all the great colorful citrus fruit, avocados, papaya, tomatoes, all of those foods full of nutrients, full of exactly what the growing brain needs to maximize its potential.
But our brains are being bombarded by advertising that tells us that the best foods for our children, and they'll be deprived if they don't get it, are the highly processed, highly refined foods that come in bright colored boxes and packets and crinkly paper.
Just remember, those foods are designed to make those manufacturers money. They don't care about how your child's brain is developing and how healthy they are. We need to train our children from a young age to enjoy these kinds of foods, and their taste buds don't get damaged by these highly refined and sugar-filled foods. So it's up to us as parents to make sure that we lay the foundation with the right kinds of foods. And it's not that hard to do. All we need to do is make sure that our children are provided these beautiful foods so that they get used to those kinds of foods, and there are tips and tricks to get them to love these kinds of foods too.
We've mentioned two types of food, the good foods, the bad foods, the harmful foods. How do these harmful, highly processed, highly refined foods affect our children's brains?
Well, firstly, they're not supplying the energy that the brain needs to function optimally. The brain runs on blood glucose. It produces energy from the food that we eat. So if we're not providing that food in the way the brain needs it, then the brain runs out of energy, and then children start craving food. The other thing that happens, those kinds of foods don't contain any vitamins or minerals, so they can't help the brain make those messengers, those neurotransmitters that the neurons need to communicate with each other. And with a lack of the right fats, which all of those processed foods are deficient in, the brain cannot actually maximize its structure. So each neuron needs its membrane to be made up of specific fats to optimize that potential of the brain. A lack of those fats means that the brain will never be optimized. So on every single level, these processed foods are removing what our children need to be able to maximize their brain function.
So Delia, what does all this mean for our children's well-being and the well-being of society?
It's really, really sobering, because just think about this. If children can't focus and concentrate well because their brains don't have the nutrients to do that, they can't learn well. That means it impacts their education and their potential to live their best lives. So these are very long-term, very negative domino effects from not feeding the brain what it needs to grow and optimize its function. It really has a negative effect on us as a family, on our community, and globally. So it's very far-reaching, Gary, and it's very sobering, and it makes me really cranky when I think about how people are not being told these facts.
So let's get back to nature's superfoods, best for us and certainly best for our children.
Spot on.
If you would like to know more about superfoods for your child's brain, then I'd like to recommend the free gift we have for you today. It's the popular booklet, Foods to Make Your Child a Winner. Just go to our Incredible Journey website, tij.tv, or scan the QR code on the screen to request your free e-copy of this booklet now.